Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Are you feeling charitable? Then smash the subscribe button and the like button. And please do follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Now, I very rarely do political videos, but I want to talk about Ricky Gervais' comments about cancel culture. Now, I want to be clear here where I stand politically. I am not a fan of extremist politics, whether it's the extreme left or the extreme right. They are not going to be the solution to the world's problems, right? The extreme left seem to hate men in their 40s, and the extreme right hate everyone, right? And there does seem to be coming a very overt extremism from the extreme left. Now, I would call myself a moderate left, and my politics are simple. And I've said it before on this channel. If you're on your floor and if you're on the floor and your hands up, I'm going to pull you back up. That's my politics. Now, a lot of people may not agree with that. They may say no. The right wing will say no. Help yourself back up, and that's their opinions. But today, I just want to talk about this because this is very important. So we're going to read an article from The Sun. I know it's a very right wing paper. But we're going to see what Ricky has to say. Standing up, Ricky Gervais hits out at cancel culture as he defends free speech, calling wokeness a weird sort of fascism. Ricky Gervais has criticised cancel culture and wokeness as a weird sort of fascism. The comedian and actor 59 spoke up in defence of free speech in a recent interview with Talk Radio amid the growth of a movement that shames and silences anyone with opposing views. He said, there is this new weird sort of fascism of people thinking they know what you can say and what you can't. And it's really a weird thing. Just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right. I agree with that. His words came as 150 eminent names signed an open letter in Harper's Magazine hitting out at the impact of cancel culture is having on rational debate. Again, I agree with that. Author J.K. Rowling, Margaret Atwood, and former New York Times op-ed editor Barry Weiss are among those who expressed concerns with the increase in illiberalism, whatever that says. Part of the letter explains how cancel culture is no longer restricted to fringe movements having infiltrated mainstream society. It reads, the free exchange of information and ideas, the lifeblood of a liberal society, is daily becoming more constricted. While we have come to expect this on the radical right, censoriousness, I can't read that word, I'm sorry, is also spreading more widely in our culture, and intolerance of opposing views, a vogue for public shaming and ostracism, and the tendency to dissolve complex policy issues in a blinding and moral certainty. Gervais made headlines around the world in January for his blistering Golden Globes monologue that tore into the Hollywood elite. The ceremony host revelled in insulting A-list stars with the likes of Leonardo DiCaprio, Felicity Huffman, and Kevin Hart, all finding themselves the butt of a joke, and he has defended people's right to offend. He said, there's this new trendy myth that people who want free speech want to say awful things all the time. It just isn't true. It protects everyone. If you're mildly left-wing on Twitter, you're suddenly Trotsky right. This is true as well. If you're mildly conservative, you're Hitler, and you're centrist, and you look at both arguments, you're a coward. Just because you're offended, it doesn't mean you're right. And the Afterlife creator believes the programme that launched his career, The Office, would be unlikely to air on the BBC today. And this has given me concerns for Life on Mars being ever aired on the BBC again. Of course, we know the creators are developing a season 3 of Life on Mars, which will be called Lazarus. And because it's set in the past where people spoke in different ways, which wouldn't be deemed right and proper these days, I have my doubts that the BBC will pick this up. I do expect Netflix to pick it up, though. That's a conversation for another time, big Life on Mars fan. Nearly 20 years on from its release, Ricky claims that the mockumentary series would fall victim to cancel culture were it to be released now. He said, now The Office would suffer because people would take things literally. There are these outrage mobs who take things out of context. This was a show about everything. It was about difference. It was about sex, race, all the things that people fear to even be discussed or talked about now, in case they say the wrong thing and they are cancelled. The BBC have got more and more careful people want to keep their jobs, so would worry about some of the subject and jokes, even though they were clearly ironic and we were laughing at this buffoon being uncomfortable around difference. I think if this was put out now, some people have lost their sense of irony and context. Yeah, so Gervais says some very interesting things. I like Gervais. I'm not obsessed with Gervais. I don't watch everything he's done. I didn't watch The Office. Not really my cup of tea. Not my sense of humour, but he's a genius. And Afterlife is a piece of art. It's really, really good. The guy is a straight talker. And he did make it clear when he spoke after the Golden Globes, actually, he's not right-wing, and he shouldn't have to come out and say that actually he does say he's probably a moderate leftist. He's clearly not alt-left, right? And this is the problem. Ever since Brexit, ever since Trump, we've had this issue now of people talking out. We've seen people lose their jobs because of their opinions. It is ridiculous. Cancel culture does exist. And I've noticed now people on the alt-left side of the political argument are saying cancel culture is not real. It's just people being kind. It's cancelling people for saying what they want isn't being kind, right? Mel Gibson made Passion of the Christ and Braveheart. The British wanted to cancel him because of Braveheart, and we know who wanted to cancel him because of the Passion of the Christ. But I can't have that conversation on this platform, unfortunately, and I have a lot of strong opinions on what happened to Mel Gibson. His arrest and what he said to the police officer was totally out of order and below the belt. Mel was wrong there, but he was cancelled and cancelled and cancelled. But he's a very, very talented man, and he is a very controversial figure. But anyway, then we go to J.K. Rowling, who made a big thread on Twitter about transgenderism, about women who were born as women, and everyone saw this as kind of transphobic. But in fact, if you read the whole thread and what she said since then, she's not being transphobic. She has a concern for women who were born as women. She has supported the transgender community. But without reading what she had to say, this is a very intellectual woman. It wasn't born of hatred. It was born of concern. And it was very smart what she said. But unfortunately, you can't cancel J.K. Rowling. And you shouldn't cancel anyone because of an opinion. So, in fact, Ricky is absolutely spot on here. And we have this trying to mute people from having an opinion. And basically, it's the kind of authoritarian alt-left. They are not the solution to the problem any more than the alt-right are. Centrism, I believe that kind of centrist left and right should create a political party together just to fight the alt-lefts and the alt-rights, because they're just as bad as each other. Let's look at Black Lives Matter. They've made the conversation toxic, right? I want to live in a world where Black lives automatically matter without us having to hashtag Black Lives Matter. I want to live in a world where people don't come out and put people down for not wearing a mask and understand their concerns, but just say, we get your concerns, but you need to wear a mask, just in case this is a thing. And you can give people this virus, just put on a mask for now, right? And when a vaccine comes out, personally, I understand the concerns of anti-vaxxers. I have those concerns, but I will take the vaccine and I will wear a mask just in case I can save my life and other people's lives. But we've got to be more tolerant of each other's points of view. And we're not now. Everyone opens their gobs. They're suspended from Twitter. They're suspended from YouTube. No one can say what they want anymore. And it's a very, very, I think, a dangerous world that we live in. Because when I see the alt-left saying there's no cancel culture, they talk in facts. This is the problem with them. They speak like their ideologies and opinions are as facts. And they have invaded the entertainment industry with their ideologies, right? And they have created it. They have destroyed entertainment, actually, because it's all about politics now. Doctor Who's about politics. Star Wars is about politics. Now, Star Wars was created on politics, but not that type of politics. That's important to remember. So they've invaded the entertainment industry But the point here is that Ricky makes a very, very important point, is that you should be able to joke about what you want. I think there's things that you shouldn't joke about. I think rape is crossing the line. But I think if you want to joke about politics and political views, his comments at the Golden Globes are ironic, because he's saying these people are cancelling other people, but when you know that there's many corrupt criminals who work in Hollywood, and then when they're in the public, they're saying, be kind, be nice, this person's bad, but I've done this bad thing, but that's okay. That's the hypocrisy in the entertainment industry. And I think this open letter is long overdue. I think people, as long as it's constructive and it's not born of hate, should be able to air their opinions and have a sense of humour. And if we can't speak freely anymore and we're afraid, we live in a very dangerous world. What do you think? Comment down below. Like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back with more videos later on. Deadpool 3 is coming.